What is up, YouTube? The Zelda Duelist back at you for the first time in a while, with a brand new deck profile, and it's a Nationals recap as well. Yeah, I've been gone for a while. I think like, the big thing I should get out the area is, where have I been? Simply put, I've been busy. The past couple months, I've had A levels. It's a big thing. I've turned 18. A lot of things have happened for me, and of course I've still been playing Branded in the meantime, but I haven't been putting Yu-Gi-Oh! Or content creation at the forefront, but it has definitely been around in my mind. And obviously it comes down to UK Nats happened last weekend, and I brought best deck Branded to it, and I did really well for my first ever Nats. I got 190th out of 1,115. I was one win off getting that Euros top cut. But it happens, it happens. I do think most of my wins were, unfortunately, unplayable hands. Like, the best hand, when I say brick, I don't mean like, oh, my combo was weird. I mean, the best play I had in one of those hands was normal Quem, St. Albaz, pass, which lost to Magnamut. But the rest of them was just appalling. Yeah. So before we continue, I'm going to do some shout outs real quick. And I go to my match report. Shout outs to my man Connor. Connor, you're a legend, mate. If you see this, it means your cards are also in the original sleeves. I'm sending them back to you as you sent them to me. Like your Starlight Mirror you lent me and the Charmies you borrowed to me. Thank you so much, dude. My good friend Raul, Yuri Diaz, and my brain just died. Guts for having me find. Oh, and Crabs for helping me like slim this deck to rework this deck in some of the ratios. Crab especially is one of the shoutouts for one of the stuff in the side deck and the ratios for some of the non-engine. Shout out to my great friend Mojitos. He bought me some of the cards to help me play this format, and he helped me learn the White Forest matchup, which after my Nationals run was very prevalent. I think 2 of my matchups were White Forest, and unfortunately I lost one of them due to Brickin' Bad. Who else need a shout out? My good friend Ewan. If you're at UK Nats, you recognise him. He was in the Kyber jacket. He came along to the event with me, and made it so it's possible for me to go this year. And my good friend Callum for lending me some of the cards. Alright, match report. Round 1, I lost a die roll. I was into White Forest, and it was I won game 1, I broke his board. Game 2, I lost it. I couldn't break through it, frustratingly, but it happens. And game 3, I set up too much engine, he couldn't deal with it. Round 2 was a tie into Mitsurugi Raziel. That was a great game. I lost game 1. What was my hand? I cannot remember. I played into his board. He played into my board. I think I misplayed slightly, I will be honest. I sent Retribution of Shadowed, and I should have sent Albaz. If I sent Albaz, I think I won the game. But I didn't, and it happens. Game 2, I won that quite easily. And then game 3, I hit him with the Thulos. He played into it a lot. He hit me with the Featherstorm. Albaz set some cards past, and I played into I played through Thulos on his turn into time. Round 3, one die roll again. White Forest the second time. Easy game 1. Game 2, I lost. I couldn't play through his board. And game 3, I bricked bad. It was like Quem, and then the rest of it was like was non-engine plus Branded lost. And I'll explain the 2 of the non-engine. I was surprised one of them was Talents. Round 4, Blue Eyes, lovely guy, great chap, wonderful to play against. We had the same mat. Quick and easy 2-0. Game 1, super poorly, broke his board. Game 2, super poorly, broke his board. Round 5, I lost a die roll to Mitsurugi Fiendsmith. Game 1, we're bricking bad with this one. 3 thrust in hand. I could have played into it, I think. I definitely should have tried to play into it, but I needed to leave the table for exterior reasons. I needed to use the toilet, and I went straight into I needed so that was definitely my fault. Round 6, one die roll into Reli's Dragon Ruler. Broke through his board game 1. No, I made a board he couldn't break through game 1, and game 2, Lancia. He carried me. Round 7, Malice. Again, it was one of those unfortunate hands. I just couldn't see engine quick enough in the game 3. Won game 1. I won game 1, lost game 2. Game 3 bricked. It happens, unfortunately. Round 8, 2-0 Viking. And the guy, great guy, he didn't know the matchup very well, unfortunately. Round 9 was the branded mirror match. Lovely guy. We had brand loss issues, but other than that, it was fine. 2-0. And round 10, Blue Eyes. This was the one I did break game 1, but I think I could have won it. But unfortunately, I just couldn't play it. There was a lot of judge calls at the end about like end phase priority, and I got confused and disoriented. And in round 11, it was like 60 pile, Mitsurugi, Fiendsmith, Ryzeal, Bystial pile, 2-0. Just great fun. It's great. I drew like the one of card fusion duplication, and because of that, I won. So overall, I was 6 wins, 1 tie, 4 losses. I played out in the end because it's always good to learn. But yeah, this I think could have performed better. It's just unfortunate due to the amount of bricks that happened. And again, these things happen in card games. The deck's normally really consistent, especially through testing. These things just happen. The other thing that didn't happen a lot was seeing my Charmies. I think I saw Fuelos once. I saw Perulia 3 times in the event. And I never saw Meows, unfortunately. But I do think Meows is the correct option. We'll talk about that when we get to it. Alright, let's go into this deck profile. Main deck. The main Albaz names, the main branded names you have, it's 3 Albaz, 3 Eluba, 2 Cartesia, 1 Quem, and 1 Kit. So this is standard. You always play 3 Albaz because of Bestials and Needy Crows in the format. So you want to have more, so you can might open them for like high spirits as well. Alongside sending them Shroud Dragon. 3 Albaz is your best starter, and it's a really good push go second. 2 Cartesia, you're playing 2 Gremlin Mob, but apart from that, it's just a good extender, and in theory it can be a starter. 1 Kit, again, it's standard as an extender. You search for high spirit sometimes or lost. 1 Quem's interesting. A lot of this, I think, the top 64s in UK Nats as well played 2 Quem. I played 1. I think you don't need 2. It's a space thing. Because actually what you need for Nib, by playing multiple Quem, you're likely to see it in your hand, and that'll clog your hand up with normal summons. And you don't want to see that. You'd rather see multiple non-engine. I did see Quem a lot in the event on my hands, which was unfortunate. But it's a risk you got to take when you play 1 off in 50. That is a 10-point-something% chance, which is the risk you got to take. And I think playing the 1 Quem was very much a play I would do again. Because even when I got hit by Nib, I don't think it ever mattered much because I could just extend through it anyway. Nib's not real into branded. And the remaining monsters you play that are engine related are, let me pull them up. I'm pulling up Charmies right now. 3 Shrouded Dragon, 1 Rebellion, 2 Saronir, a Tragedy, and a Mercuria. For the most part, I will say my deck felt perfect, other than 2 Saronir. I want to play a third. That's the only thing. I'll show you what I would cut from the main for it. But other than that, I would play a third Saronir. 3 Shrouded is standard. I know the top 64 list only played 2. I think I like 3 to dig into my knowledge in, and while you can play 2 to try and prevent drawing into the Shrouded. Even if you see the other one, it's not too bad because it's a discard. You confuse with it with Cartesia as a dark monster. Rebellion, you got to play at least 1 of it's an engine requirement. And in some lists, I was contemplating playing a higher Bestial count to play a more branded, less styled build. But right now, I think regular branded is better to a format like this. 2 Saronir. Again, would play 3. I need it for high spirits, and as a Bestial, it's really nice because due to the pressure of just a single Bestial in hand into, I bricked the Mitsuri Fiends. I bricked again, but because I had Saronir in hand, he knew I had added off Rebellion. It forced him to go, yeah, I'm not going to play into this. Continue. I'm not going to OTK because I can't OTK through Saronir, so I'm just going to make a quick board, try and kill, and I summoned the Saronir out. He bounced back to shoved it into my deck, I think, actually, with Dynamondo. But because of that, I was able to build a board, and I nearly did it. I nearly played through and won that game. It was really close. If he didn't kill me that turn, I would have done it. And these 2 are Foolish, God's focus targets. I didn't play Alert, I didn't play Foolish. Foolish you can play. I feel like I'm tempted to play Foolish in the future, but for now I don't want it. Overperformed. I kept banishing off Goldstark, off Albion. My cards are getting stuck to my mat today. I don't know why. Overperformed. That's a hand trick. That's great. I hate you. I might cut Tragedy. I think it's you got to play it. I think, but if you're trying to sim the deck down, you cut Tragedy because, I think I saw it. I used it once the entire event. It was just a discard opening. That was it. I never made use of its effect. Outside of that, I never bothered to banish it. I sided out every single game, except I put it back in when I'm going first, but I never kept it in go second. It's bad. I can see myself being a future. I just don't play this card. And that just leaves us with Charmies. In the main, I'm playing 6. Playing 6 Charmies. I'm playing 3 Fua, 3 Prulia. Again, thank you, Connor. On Monday, you'll get these back. I am just not feeling well right now. If anyone asks me what pricing I got from this event, it was an illness. But yeah, good old stomach virus. But anyway, again, I didn't see a lot of them, but this was the main Charmy I saw, and it was a 100% a correct play to play in the main. Whenever I saw it, it gave me enough cards to play through boards, and in testing, this worked wonders. Fearless I saw once, and it was the reason I was able to play through Featherstorm. I will take that any day of the week. But yeah, I wouldn't. Some days play Droll actually over Prulia in the main, and then some days don't even play Prulia. I don't agree with that. You've got to play Charmies and Branded because you need to see Engine to break boards. If you're into Malice, they give you like the 3 draws that they'll typically do because they do normal summon. It'll be backup, and let's say, oh no, it'd be 4 normally. If you go normal summon, backup, wizard, Marcher, that's 4 draws. If it's Marcher, wizard, and backup, 3. Backup, wizard, 2. Just the Marcher 1. You'll never not get a draw into Malice with Prulia. It's the thing, and it's what people don't recognize. Unlike the big thing with I'll pull these up actually with Charmies. Let me go grab Meows real quick. No, there's a reason. I'll talk about Meows now, the Charmies now, because it's important to know. So we have all of them on the board. Again, these are from Connor. You have them to me. Into Malice. Malice is the biggest issue branded. Mitsuri decks aren't real into branded. You can play into them really well. Phenomenally well. And you got a really good matchup. Malice, you got a really tough issue into, and that's why branded's not around with this format. It's why the branded is not meta. And I'm saying this clearly, it's not meta because there was one guy I got in an argument with who's saying it was meta, and I disagree with that completely. The deck's not meta. It's a good option, not meta. There's a difference. Yeah, into Malice, this makes them go into a half board. You'll get max 2 draws, I think, unless they full commit into Fua. But because it's a half board, you don't get a lot of draws. They have a lot of like follow up, and if you don't kill them, they're going to just extend and kill you. I don't, Fua, but you can still beat them. Purili gives you like 4, minimum 1, maximum 4, 5 draws. I think if you use a Bestial, it's like 5 draws to Malice, and that's really good. Obviously, it's a turn skip. Obviously, it's really good to Mitsurai because it forces them to either give you a bunch of draws or no draws. And into Malice, it gives you the cards you need in hand to play through the board. I broke a Malice board, a full Malice board, with like a bunch of set cards. It was a Gumblar, Wicked board and testing. It was like some hand chips in hand. They had a set Dominus Impulse without ever using Branded Fusion because I drew so much of Prulia. Because they just full commit into it. And that's great. And Meows is interesting because it's good into Mitsurai, I think, if you use it on your own turn. If you're only like chain it's like the press, whatever, or like the effects, sure. But otherwise, use it on your own turn. That way, they use stuff like Tribute, Murakumo, summon out Murakumo. You can make use of the Meows to extend further, hopefully see what else you need. But I would never sign all of them, putting like 2 into Mitsu. But into Malice, it like full makes them do the half board like that, and I'm not, and it's great because it lets you break the board. But at the same time, I'm debating, but it's like debatable and that. But you do need it for Malice. Malice half boards are the most breakable things in the deck, as long as they don't see like 7 hand traps, and that's fine because the issue is with Malice, they play a lot of non-engine, but if it's a go first or even like post side, those hand traps will probably be like Droll, Impulse, Ash, Imperm, Bestials, maybe Nib. Nib's not real. Bestials can be annoying, but you can play around them. Droll doesn't matter, meaning it's Dominus, Impulse, Ash Blossom, Imperm. Imperm's beating around with Cartesia. Ash, Impulse. Ash, we can play around with Talents, Thrust, Cool Buy. Impulse, Salesman. I will admit when I'm playing Salesman in this deck, I'm playing it in the main. We'll talk about Salesman when we get to it. But yeah, that's why we play Meows in the side. I do think you got to play Meows. I got to give away all of them right now. But Meows is the side deck one because it is the least flexible. They should always get draws from it, no matter the matchup, along with Fulos. And actually, no, in the Viking, you don't really get a lot of draws from Fulos. So, like, Peridia is really going to a Viking, just around this format. But onto the spells, you got Brand Fusion at 1, you got to play at 1, 3 opening. I cut an opening, and for the third Zarina, opening, it's a starter of all time, that's for sure. But the issue is with opening, you go -1 in card advantage. Going second, it's a weird push, and it's debatable whether or not you keep it around. 3 High Spirits. I love this card. 2 Fusion Deployment and 1 God Scoffus. Shout out Raul Sanders. Shout out Guts, who was giving me the idea about cutting this down, and I didn't do it before the event. I should have. This at 2 was the best deck building decision I'd ever had. And the issue with deployment is that right in this format, it plays really hard into Fulos, and it plays really hard into going second. Because you go, yeah, you can summon out Albaz. Okay, right. So you have 6 cards in hand without any charmies, right? You have 6 cards. Fusion deployment summons out Albaz from deck. Albaz effect. 4 cards in hand. Get rid of Albaz. You run -2. Okay, so like Cartesia. It's only 1 card. They use use Cartesia effect. They chain any removal, which is Detonator, which is MTP, which is Crypta, Gumblar in theory. Firewall is not Firewall. That's a really bad example. But there's a lot of removal right now. And they remove the Cartesia. They force you to fuse with what you might not want to. For example, you might have an Aluber in hand or like a Quem or something, alongside like a Shrouded you've not used yet. And by doing that, it forces you to go into plays you don't want to do. There was an instance in testing where I did that, and I played this at 3 times. Like Cartesia used effect, and I was forced to fuse a Fulos Drew for turn plus Albaz into Rindbrum, and it was really bad. So go second, you always side this out. Always says that, and go first, you always put it back in. Because go first, it's a nice extender, it plays into Fulos, and you have lines in this deck that you don't need to play into Fulos with by just playing the 2. Gold Star, the starter, and High Spirits, I love you so much. We played through so much with the High Spirits. I definitely think my final game to Blue Eyes, I could have won that game if I used High Spirits more effectively. Okay, and that's it for starters. The final other like branded spells. Starter / extenders. Yeah, I run. I'm not talking about traps because they've got 2 brand traps. It's Lost and Red. That's it. I want to play in white, but I need non-engine space. And in white's interesting right now. I think in future I might test it more, but for now it's not viable. Lost was the MVP, can I just say? Because of Lost, my opponent just never responds to my stuff, and I broke so many boards by summoning that Chaos Star Source. Just Mirror Jading on summons, so they can't respond to it. Into Malice, you can have Lost up with Branded Banishment, which I'm running this list. Make Starving Venom with their 2 Malice monsters. And then they can't use their effect summon back. I've got Lost on the board. Branded Red, I actually think this underperformed for me. I think with that Guardian Chimera in the deck, I don't use this often. I have it in the side. Not inside, I have it go second. But even then, it's like, I don't summon it use it too frequently. I think with the Chaos Star Source Errata, I think I put Guardian Chimera back in, and I'll use this more often, but for now, I'm not using this as much. But that didn't impart in any way. That wasn't a bad thing. I think it's still a great card to have. I think Banishment's better right now. And non-engine, in the main, I'm running 3 Supoli, 2 Salesman. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll talk about each of these in a minute. Droplet, 3 Thrust, Talents, Cool Buy. Right. This plays through hand traps go first. Hand trap you. These are basically the same card, but do different things. This punishes you for interacting with me. This says no. I think I could buy a few Ash Blossoms in the tournament. Also, like other like Vital Engine cards, which was very handy. And Thrust. This was the MVP. This was the best card in the deck. Thrust add Brand Fusion. It happens so often. Thrust add Talents. Thrust add Salesman. Thrust add Feather Duster. It was so good. I were 10 out of 10 card. You have to play it 3, I think, or like. 3 to volley. Again, MVP card. You can play it into so many boards with this. Blue Eyes, make Chaos Stars. It's not anything more, unfortunately, but you can make Garura. You can go into different like bodies. You can like I had Set Albaz and use Super Volley to make with their Ether Belt Chaos Star Source. Pop one card. Set Albaz with Detonator on the board. Mirror Jade, very powerful card. And then these. Typically you see Droplet in this format, and I would say Droplet, it's underwhelming. I'm tempted to cut this as well. Maybe for that Fall to mention earlier, but Droplet doesn't do a lot. I think in the tournament it did overperform, I will say that. But it overperformed when I started in the other Droplet. I do have one-sided, that's a Crab special, because Droplet right now, it's really weird. But it's really good going first, but going second, it's not stopping nothing. I watch my language right now because I'm trying to control my language. But it's not stopping much, unfortunately. Into White Forest, it did violence really powerful, but into Malice, into Mitsurai, it's not doing enough. And this was an MVP. Cool Dominus Impulse going. So if you have Salesman Blind, hold up. This was a tech I got from not just Yuri Diaz, but some other like. I think like copied it from like tournaments as well. We were talking about it with like Raul and Yuri. If you go like Salesman, Cool Dominus Impulse go for it. You're blind first. Cool Dominus Impulse. If you have Thrust, if you have Talents and whatnot to play around stuff, you'll cool those cards with Salesman, because Dominus Impulse you can't play around. Because it negates effects, you have these 3 cards to play around Impulse. To play around Ash, you've got like in terms of the cards that just directly counter them, you've got all of this. Right? You see like the difference? So by calling Impulse, while you have one of these, you're more likely to extend. But if you don't have one of those to extend through it, you just call Ash, because that way, Ash is a more common card. But if you have ways to play through Ash, you'll just call Impulse, because you don't want Impulse resolving on your stuff. You want Ash resolving. That way, you can extend further. And you don't play. Before earlier, I wasn't playing Ido. I'm not playing the block at all. I'll talk about that when we get to the extra deck. But part of that is due to Impulse. And go in second and do Malice, you'll call Whitebinder into... because if you call Whitebinder, it means all your graveyard stuff gets to stay where it is. And thus lets you extend further beyond. Into Mitsurai, you can call like Detonators, a really powerful one you can call. You could call Murakumo to stop the Raigeki into like pure. Into any Fiendsmith deck, you just call Caesar, and it's a dead card on the board. It's so powerful right now. I do think you've got to play Salesman. And trap cards, we're playing that. These 2 are standard. You set this off, Thrust typically. Just extend beyond. With Retribution, it's standard again. Banishment, this overperformed me. Completely overperformed. I set this every single time with Albion, I think. Unless I already had it, in which case I'd set either Retribution or I'd set in red. And just fusing my opponent's stuff like into Mitsurugi, this is super powerful because this typical board you'll have into Mitsu. I think, hold up, it's Lost, set Banishment, like there's like no extenders whatsoever. Okay, no extenders. Mirror Jade plus an Albion Engrave because you sent them there, right? They'll go like a Mitsuri Ritual, and you go, sure, whatever. Use a set. Someone out Murakumo, no, bunch of stuff more, they go Murakumo effect. Chain Mirror Jade, send whatever. Let's say Mirror Jade. It's all of you normally send Mirror Jade, send like Albion, like follow up. But when you strike Mirror Jade, it's close to hand. They're forced to make a choice. They have Murakumo on board. Either let this go, and they lose out Murakumo. And a lot of their sets are one Murakumo. And they don't want to lose out their Murakumo. It's one of the most powerful engine pieces. They want to really bring it back and then keep making use of it. So they'll go Chain. And you can have 5 cards in hand, and you go, bet, negate my Mirror Jade. Destroys Jade, effect. You're putting them on a clock. This turn they've got to kill you, right? And you make sure you do this because it doesn't matter if that effect results. You don't want it to resolve. That's the big thing. Because you then let them extend further. They get too dark, so it's like Habakiri plus Murakumo, or it's sometimes you have like the 2 level 4 guys. You plus Murakumo, you'll have instances where you have Futsu plus Murakumo in some builds. You then go on res, banish from target Mirror Jade, summons out Mirror Jade, fuse with their 2 monsters into Starving Venom. So they're banished out of the game because they have Kusanagi on board. That's GG. And if they've already used it this turn, they're out of the game effectively because they're not going to get back. And you go lost Admacuria, you have a live Mirror Jades again, and you just remove 2 of their most crucial pieces, and you will win. You will win. There's like no way you don't win that game, unfortunately, for them. And that's it for the main deck. I would not change anything other than the third Saronir. And for extra, we are running 2 Mirror Jade. Talk about that in a minute. Again, it's a Raoul Santa special. 2 Albion, a Lubellion, a Titaniclad, a Rindrum. And that's it. That's the Albaz names. That is all my Albaz names. You'll notice there is a surprising lack of where is he? Sanctifier. Sanctifier's not in this list. Sanctifier is bad right now. And this is something that Raoul showed me. So Raoul had showed me this. Because the thing is though, into boards, you go Fuelos, make Sanctifier, yeah, whatever. You're missing out on a lot because you're going Sanctifier. You're entirely going. They don't have Called By, Bell, Bestial, DD Crow, Droplet. A way to like if it's a Mitsurugi, a Prayers. Like there's so much you're coping on. Right? By going, and I was testing it with like Golden Sword Soul, it wasn't worth it. But by just going, make Albion with Albaz Lubellion, no effect. Tribute at Sonnet Lubellion, lost in red. You get so much more follow-up that way because you can go in red, get Mercuria. I mean, you have 2 interruptions compared to the 1. And while they do the same things, the difference there it's that they're often in a situation with Albion in this board compared to that board, where it's harder to beat over Lubellion than it is Sanctifier, because 3,000 defense, 2,500 defense. It's a minor difference, but you also have lost on the board. So if you had like a Cartesia in rotation, you can still fuse, search, and extend. 2 Jade isn't the most standard right now. I think I've seen a lot of 1 Jades. Again, Raoul special. You pay 2 Jade because it comes up. I think the amount of like double Jades I made throughout the event was a surprising amount because they'd remove 1, I'd make the other, and it forces more like interaction. It forces the opponent to contemplate what's going on. And even as I mentioned, like a worst case, you can 10 Jade off Jade, but by having the 2 Jades in your deck, it makes it so regardless of how the opponent plays it out, there's always a backup plan. So if they like Kaiju 1, they banish it face down, you can just summon the other of like in red off Rindrum and Grave and just extend. And the rest of the standard. I do think 2 Jade is great. I might try 1 again, but like I need the Albaz names. In terms of like the Despia names, I like to call them, obviously plus Grand Mignoll, you got 2 Gwignols, Proskenian, Masquerade. And I'll put the 2 Polytargets down as well. This is the entire extra deck. It's all about this. Grand Mignoll at 2, I feel like I could see going to 1 for like a Light and Darkness Dragonlord maybe. Or cutting that for Lad, but I won't. And these actually, I really like this extra deck. I think Lad is an option, don't get me wrong. But I'm not the most sold on him. Grand Mignoll at 2 is great for like worst case scenarios. You've got like High Spirits Away or Cartesia. I want rotation. But often I was making multiple Grand Mignolls, even on my opponent's turn, sending Garura, draw a card. So or to trigger Quem, or I'll tag 1 out, summon out Proskenion. Because I had instances where I went High Spirit, sent Cartesia, Grand Mignoll, and Kit, negated, whatever. Summons out Quem off this. extends further. Summon out Priskenion. And Priskenion caused so many problems for people. For the Fiendsmith players, Priskenion banish Requiem for in theory into Mitsurai. Unfortunately, didn't do it. It was really sad. But you can go Priskenion, take Detonator, equip Aluber if you use Super Holy, because Priskenion is the only Super Holy target that gets rid of both Murakumo and Detonator. It requires a light and a dark, plus a Despius. You go normal Aluber effect. If they go Chain Imperm, you go Chain Super Holy, or you're on res, think to avoid Droll, because you can do that. Super Holy with two guys make Priskenion. Priskenion takes Detonator, equips Aluber. That's 62 damage on the board. If you're going to get any other body on the board, in theory, you can just win the game from there. At time condition, but it puts so much pressure on the opponent, Masquerade. Especially when they get to the lower life points, you go some Masquerade, because it then puts them on a clock. It makes them have to content their actions. And into Malice, I won a game. Because in theory, while they could remove the Masquerade, they would have lost in the end phase because of I Meet You, and they wouldn't have enough life points to survive that. And super target wise, Chaos Starforce is interesting because I think this might be my lad. I might swap Lad out for this, or I'd find a room for Borderline Furious now that it's getting an errata, or I'll keep it around. I'm not sure. I have to test more of the errata, and I will talk more about it in a later video, probably next week. But Chaos Starforce, without the errata, pre-errata, overperformed. With the new errata, I'm not sure. I will say I did constantly make this off Lubellion on the Lost because they couldn't respond. Garura, I often set off Gramel actually. When I already had Titanic in rotation, I had Abby in rotation. I went send Garura out, get another draw in. And off Super, I think I made a Super probably once or twice, but it didn't come up too much. And these Muddragon was a theory card. It came out in Viking, but in theory, Muddragon's really good right now because of obviously Mermel's deck that exists, but it's not why we play it. We play it because of Memento. Memento is a very scary deck because it does so much of so little, and it feels like an unwinnable matchup for Branded. Is my issue with it. But by playing Muddragon, you have a super poly target. You have the fusion. They have Combined Creation King. You can fuse those two away, make Muddragon, and it puts them off a lot of so much cards, and it makes the matchup feel a lot more easy to play into. And when I did summon out Muddragon, I call Dark, I call Light, and they can't target those cards. Into Fire King, I called Fire, and they couldn't target the fires on the board for like Skyburn. Super impactful thing to have done. Yeah, I think I might try and find room for Aladdin here, but I'm not entirely sure. But that's the only change I made to the extra deck. Side deck. No changes to be made again. I was very happy with this. 3 Lancia and 3 Meows for Malice. But of course, Meows comes into other matchup as well. But you've got to play both right now in Branded because Malice is such a tough matchup. And obviously, you play 3 Droll. You have that Droll somewhere on your list. Some misplay it in main, some misplay it inside. I like it inside, and it was great inside for me. Because in going first into Malice, what I'll do, I'll put in the 3 Lancia, I'll put in 2 Droll, and I'll put in the other Droplet. Unfortunately, this could come back and bite me when I drew. I was going first to Malice, my only Malice game, unfortunately, and I drew 2 Droll, Droplet, Lancia, Salesban, Talents. No, Salesban, Thrust. I went, shit, pass, Lancia, hit by White Wine, whatever. Draw, Lancia, shit. Oh, I've just sworn. Oh, blast it. Sorry. But it was annoying, but Draw, you got to play this format. You have to. It's really good to Mitsurai. I also played 1 Duster, 2 Storm, Mischief of the Gnomes, and D-Barrier. This is completely standard stuff, I'd say. You got to play these for back row stuff, and into Life Twin Fiendsmith, this card just wins. Mischief of the Gnomes is turn skip into Mitsurai, or Mitsu in general, because, and it's a double turn skip, because once you use it, you can just banish it from the grave. Again, so if you brick, you just extend through it, and it's really powerful to play through stuff. And D-Barrier lets you turn skip Mitsurai or like other decks it's D really good into. I used from testing. Sorry about that. My mother walked into the room. What was I gonna say? My brain just died. Actually, Memento, the other one. You flip this Cool Fusion, and it's really difficult for Memento to extend through it. But yeah, that's to the side. I wouldn't change anything. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hopefully these videos come up more frequently. Do the YouTube thing. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you all in the next one. Connor, you'll get your card soon. I'm just recovering still. Till next one then. Cheerio.